Hey, Sparkle Stormy, under my flank, it's me, Sparkle Counselor, coming to the video. In this video, I am doing Tensura characters if they were in Star Wars. And a little bit more about this universe. Every single Force user has a Force ability, but some don't, but they can still use the Force, but it's not as powerful. You'll see what I mean by that. So, without further ado, let's roll intro and let's get into this video, and let's go. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. Okay, let's see. How many people are there now? Oh, I'm back. Okay, there's a lot of people that can use the Force. Some better than others, but everyone has different abilities while using the Force. Some of these people are some of the more older and more well known, whereas some of the newer ones are not unknown. The first one is Clayman. He's on the side of the Sith, but his Force ability is Force Puppeteer. He has lost 2 arms, but he has also been able to remake new arms using the Force itself and condense the Force down into a vaguely arm shape. But like most Siths, he can use Force Lightning. But for him, whenever it hits an opponent, he can actually puppeteer them, hence the name Force Puppeteer. I don't know what I can do. He was killed by the last person we're going to go over. If I remember correctly, their name was Rima Tempest of sorts. Clayman was a weird race. He was a race similar to Darth Maul's in the fact that they were more close to the dark side, but they could not really be killed due to their innate Force sensitivity. They can always be reincarnated. They were known as Force Deaths. Force Deaths are really nasty. They always get reincarnated until you destroy their very soul. You gotta completely vaporize their body in order to kill them. Okay, now that's all for this one. Okay, so for the design notes, which is possible I'm going to be doing a lot of this video, is shifting between that character and design notes. Well, anyways, for the design notes, Clayman was the first one I did, as you can see, and he was also really interesting. I took inspiration from Clayman's base form and his awakened demon lord form. Both forms are extremely powerful, yes, but still nowhere compared to Rima's power. For the arms, I tried to make them Force-like they're part of the Force, but you can still see them. That's the reason why I went for that gray color. I do that a lot when I'm working with Star Wars and the Force. I usually make it transparent somewhat, but you can still vaguely see it. So let's get to the next one. Second one is on the side of the Jedi. He's a Jedi Guardian. Name Fritz. Force ability, Force Wind. This is a completely invisible Force attack that he can use to generate Force fields, shields, projectiles. He can even use it to surround his lightsaber, which is, funny enough, a purple color. He was a big fan of Mace Windu when he was still a Jedi. So he picked up the mantle of a purple lightsaber. He still likes to honor him by by routinely looking into some of its older files to see if there's any combinations between him and any of the Jedi Guardians. For all I know, he could have been a Jedi Counselor that was sent into battle every now and again. But being a Jedi Sentinel, that's not really as chalked up as it all up to be. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, that's all for this one. Okay, now for the character design. This was a little more interesting. What I did was I mostly went after the Jedi Guardian armor, and that came out really well. Also, I realized that they wear a robe at times, they wear a robe, but they're more heavily armored. Now, I saw that this was a good idea, and like I said in the lore for this character, was a big fan of Mace Windu, and I forgot to mention that he is known as the Jedi of the Wind, mainly because his ability is to create force wind. Pretty much wind that he can control at his will. The difference between force wind and regular wind is force wind could literally suffocate you. He can literally condense it to where you can literally see your air leaving your lungs. Somewhere like pulling a whatever that guy's name was. Amon? No, that was someone else. Pretty much pulling that bad guy's character. What he did to the Earthqueen, Avatar, The Legend of Korra. Sorry. But other than that, that's really all I got for this character. Other than that, I really like the design. So, without further ado, let's get to the next one. Okay, I really need to get that respirator fixed. Okay, this next one is a Jedi Counselor. More like it. Named Errol Grimwald. Force ability, Force Counselor. He has the ability to, counsel people using the Force. It's not as powerful. Well, it's more powerful than it seems. You can really hook up to multiple people's minds, or even one that's force sensitive, and tell them how to use their ability. You can also see their ability if they are weaker than him. Some have to allow him to see it. But he can usually give us a good impression of saying, hey, this person is really good at this or really good at that. But other than that, it's not really as powerful as the other ones. He can also give people a major headache. He is very good in hand-to-hand combat. He can use the Force abilities that he's already granted, which are even more powerful than others. Because everyone has the Force, some people just know how to use it. Some people have the ability to just use the Force and that's all, but most people have an ability known as a Force ability, and it's different for every single person. Some people have a copy of it or a weaker version of another. But trust me that every Force ability has its strengths and weaknesses, except for a handful. Like the next one we're going to go over. But other than that, his character, in other words, is a really good person. And he's also very friendly. He's actually been the one who established an alliance with someone who's not even in any side or council. Okay, so for the character design of this one, it was a little more simple. The idea was, since he was more like a noble of the nation he's from, I decided that he should be something like a noble, but I decided that, you know what, he's a Jedi, and from what I know, this guy's a magician. I looked into his fandom page, and I didn't really find any skills for me to roll over into a character design. So I just went with it and like, you know what, I'm just gonna make this guy a really, really good counselor. So that's what I did. A Jedi Counselor, for the record, is a Jedi that has good combat prowess, but that's really well versed in combat, but it's not part of the Jedi Guardians or Sentinels. Sentinels are one of my favorite types of Jedi, for the record. But other than that, let's get into the next one. Okay, that really needs to be fixed. Okay, now for this next one, and the final one. I mentioned their name earlier. Name Rima Tempest. They got their Tempest name because that wherever they go it always ends in a giant storm of bloodshed if you get on his nerves. He's a very kind person, but you mess with him or his people, he will end you. Like, they're too easy for him to. Force ability, force consumption, and slime. It's a weird ability. Slime is a different type of ability from what I've seen. Usually the force is just like a turn off, turn on, like a thing. But this guy his slime ability allows him to transform. And most people confuse him with a for female when they first meet. And his voice doesn't really help either. He, how do you say, doesn't get confused for a girl as often nowadays because people know him now. As for force consumption, he can literally summon like a purple bowl and whenever it summons a force attack, it literally shoots out lightning or force tendrils and wraps up the attack in a little energy thing. But trust me, it is a whole lot more powerful than it seems. But he does look like a kid, and he usually meets people in a slime form because most people think that, well, for the record, there are different types of monsters and aliens. Some more common types are known as slimes or force slimes. It turns out he's actually someone who was reincarnated that was a really fortunate person in the last life. He got reincarnated as a slime, but for some reason has the ability to take on their human form at will. Although it did take on a few different changes. Okay, now, you can tell I just ripped off Rima Tempest. But hey, I did take Tensura characters and put them in, well, Star Wars. So it was the best way I could roll with it, is having different creatures and aliens. And Force Deaths are by far just a blatant rip-off of Deathman, but still their own thing. They're pretty much a different race that can be reincarnated over and over again. But for Rimuru, I wanted to give him his slime ability, but I didn't know how, so I just put it in there as slime. So, yeah, it was a very, very fun idea and very simple. So, that's all for today. I hope you all enjoyed today's video, because that's all the time I got for today. Until next time, subscribe today, join us, podcast me, or Demons Alliance. Goodbye, and peace out, everyone.